Millions of people are now being taken over by fear and panic due to the housing market. Hey everybody, Scott Walters, welcome to the channel. If you're new, I want to thank you for coming. If you're returning, I want to thank you for your continued support. Before we get into today's red hot topic, I'm going to politely ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please watch to the end for my final thought and hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos are released. It's very important to stay close to the channel in these very tricky times. All right, folks, welcome to the channel. Always an honor and a privilege to be with you. I hope you're all doing great. Buckle up and strap in. I got a hard-hitting pull, no punches, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows and sunshine. I'm just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. And friends, millions and millions of Americans, if not globally, are now being swept in to fear and panic. We've talked about this before. This is insane, the stuff that I laugh at this stuff. It's like a built-in self-defense mechanism to wrap my head around what we have to unpackage here today as we continue to be forward-thinking, critical thinking, centered and surrounded with like-minded people. We have to get in front of this, friends. And again, the first step of getting past a problem, admit there's a problem. We had a massive problem when we overstimulated the world's biggest economy, the U.S. housing market. The U.S. and the U.S. housing market. Everything hinges on the U.S. housing market. So we've talked about this before. We're gonna show a little graphic today to kind of drive our point home. And the reality is, friends, is that like I said before, I reported on this early on when the housing bubble was underway, and warning people that this was not organic growth, this was artificial growth, and there was no way it could sustain itself. And we're seeing that blowback now. So we're now beyond the fact if this is a bubble or not. This is clearly a bubble, and now it becomes, can it sustain itself? And we're seeing now price reductions sweep America at the fastest rate we've ever seen. And that is scary stuff. We are entering into a recession, like I've always talked about, the tail end of a health crisis, the front end of a recession. But I think because of today, and we've talked about this as well, because of our digital diet contagion will be a much more ever-present component of this next recession, because we are much more connected now digitally with our devices than we were in the '08 era. So, and this one was just a bigger bubble. It's providing bigger blowback. But the point I wanted to make today, friends, as we get in front of this, is mainstream media. If it bleeds, it leads. So, you know, unlike this channel, and a lot of people might argue, well, you're doing the same thing, Scott. You're reporting on all the, you know, housing bubble and a crash and this and that. We're raising awareness here, but we're also offering solutions, like we've said. For us and the people, like I said, congratulations. If you're new, please subscribe right away. There's never been a more important time to get forward thinking and critical thinking. But for the people that have been with this channel that are like-minded, that we've actually halfway expected this one. So we're going to be less blindsided by it. But millions of people are just now being swept up into reality of what's going on here. Many people, mainly young people that have never lived through a housing bubble before or crash in a downturn, had no idea. In fact, there's still plenty of people out there buying out of FOMO because they're just really clueless to the economic blowback that occurs historically throughout the markets. Like I said, as a trained salesman, trained in the psychology of sales and the psychology of people, I know once you make up your mind to buy, you're buying. The sky could be falling. I can still sell you a house. So the realities are, friends, is now like I said, I've reported on this very early on, that as soon as mainstream media got a hold of this, and I said this back when mainstream media, what they were posting, nothing like what we're going to look at today. They were posting the hot housing market, you know, millions of people want houses, you know, the housing boom. They were basically contributing to the FOMO, because everything they report on is handed down from newsrooms. No forward thinking, no critical thinking from any news anchors to speak of. They have to stay within whatever their company tells them they have to stay within. If they get too far outside of their lane, they could lose their job. So they're just reporting on things that are being handed down from newsrooms. And in the news industry, if it bleeds, it leads. So let's go ahead and roll this graphic. Then we'll meet back here to wrap this one up. Let's get started. All right, friends, this is the biggest problem that we're now facing. Mainstream media now reporting on the housing crash. And once they start reporting on it, it's the nail in the coffin of real estate. We have to be hypersensitive, hyper aware of what we're watching and what we're seeing. Mainstream media will continue to push this, and the masses will continue to digest it. Now let's get back to the studio and wrap this one up. All right, so welcome back. That's exactly the challenge that we're having now. Mainstream media is now reporting on the crash. And so even this is the challenge with this one, friends. And you see, but even outside of mainstream media reporting on this, we were headed for a recession just purely because of the crisis and the overstimulation, the money dump into the economy. It created runaway inflation. And we have to get inflation under control. If we don't, it's going to be a slow motion crash. Unfortunately now, just as fast as this, or fortunately, depending on how you're looking at it, just as fast as this bubble is created in this short window is the fastest housing bubble ever produced in world history because of the artificial nature of which it transpired. So the reverse course is happening even quicker, and a lot of that is in fact because of mainstream media. People, like I've talked about before, people, even if they're financially fit, tend to recess in a recession. Why? Because everybody else is. The wealth effect that was created for a lot of people that saw appreciation in their real estate, even though it was dead equity just sitting there, maybe if they didn't even access it, it makes us feel rich. We go, wow, net worth is increased because my real estate is, it's worth so much. People's real estate outperformed their income, their jobs. They gained more in their real estate values than they did working. And that's why we saw a lot of people quit their jobs. They're like, pouring into these investment markets. It created that casino climate that we've talked about. So in final thoughts, I come to you as a friend, as a content creator. Somebody wants to see you not only win in real estate, win in life, understanding the exact nature of what's going on right now, the waters that we're swimming in. We created the perfect storm now with the money dump, the mainstream media, and our digital diet and contagion now ready to sweep these markets. It's just going to put inflationary fuel on this inflation fire that we're currently on as people they're just going to continue to panic and get swept up in fear. And that's why I think it's so important for us to remain, very centered and surrounded with like-minded people, because see, like we've always talked about with Warren Buffett's coined phrase, be greedy when others are fearful when others are greedy. We saw Warren Buffett and a lot of the heavy hitter billionaires get on the sidelines when all this greed was going on. They didn't pour in. We saw a lot of people on Wall Street and investors pour into these markets like we've never seen before, and they're in big trouble right now. We're going to be headed for a lot of liquidation of homes, a lot of bankruptcies, a lot of people going belly up. We're already seeing the layoffs, the mortgage industry and the real estate industry. All these white-collar industries start to go through massive pain. The only thing currently holding up our job number reports are blue-collar workers, the service sector, because we had shut those down. Now we're reopened, and there's a need for that. But the other sectors that did well in the pandemic, the white-collar sector, that thrived in that with remote working or tech or whatever the case may be, now they're in trouble. The complete flip-flop has occurred there as well. So the better we can understand the waters we swim in, the better we're going to be able to navigate through it more efficiently, retain our wealth. Cash is the safe haven again. If you have a little bit of wealth, my advice is to basically start heat mapping and temperature checking if you want to invest in hard tangible assets, real estate, where 95% of all millionaires made their wealth. Start targeting areas where you can do that. If you'd like to minimize risk, maybe get together with a friend or two and pool your money together and get an investment property going. If you want to buy a house and maybe just add a rental to the property, live in part of it, rent out the other. This is a great way that you can get started in real estate. I'm going to be here to help you every step of the way because that's my commitment, and it will continue to be my commitment as we move forward. If you appreciate the content, I do want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Social media links are in the description of this video if you'd like to contact me there, along with links to channels I've appeared on I think you might enjoy. If you're interested in buying or selling real estate here in America, there's an email in the description for you as well. I have the biggest network of top-rated agents in the nation ready to assist you. Also, if you're watching from your television set today and you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to love the next video on your screen, and there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Please go make a count today. I'll see you on the next video.